Okay, welcome back to another learning slash reading. So for today's video, I think we are going to be reading. Let's see. We're gonna cover energy resources. Let me get the magic wand, and we're just gonna be reading about energy resources, which will cover natural resources, fossil fuels, and alternative resources. So we go to page 106. So let's see, this is 102. Energy resources. Let's see. Section 1. So we have natural resources. Think of the earth as a giant life support system for all of us, for all of humanity. The earth's atmosphere, waters, and solid crust provide almost everything we need to survive. The atmosphere provides the air we need to breathe, distributes heat to maintain air temperatures, and produce rain. The oceans and other water of the earth provide food and needed fluids. The solid part of the earth provide nutrients and minerals. Interactions between the Earth's system can cause changes in the Earth's environment. Organisms must adapt to these changes if they are to survive. Humans have found ways to survive by using natural resources to change their immediate surroundings. A natural resource is any natural substance, organisms, or energy form that living things use. Few of these Earth's natural resources are used in their unaltered state. Most resources are made into products that make people's lives more comfortable and convenient, as shown in figure 1. So we have lumber, gasoline, and electricity. This pile of lumber is made of wood, which comes from trees. The gasoline in this can is made from oil pumped from the Earth's crust. And then we have some wind turbines, which is electricity generated by them, ultimately comes from the sun's energy. And then we have renewable resources. Some natural resources are renewable. A renewable resource is a natural resource that can be used and replaced over a relatively short time. Figure 2 shows several examples of renewable resources. So we can see figure 2 right here. We have fresh water, fish, and trees are just a few of the renewable resources available on Earth. Although many resources are renewable, humans often use them more quickly than they can be replaced. Trees, for example, are renewable, but humans are currently cutting trees down more quickly than the trees can grow to replace them. That's why we replant trees every time they cut trees, they replant some other ones. Okay, so now we're going to move on to non-renewable resources. Not all of Earth's natural resources are renewable. A non-renewable resource is a natural resource that cannot be replaced, or that can be replaced only over thousands or millions of years. Examples of non-renewable resources are shown in figure 3. So we have right here, which is coal, natural gas, and iron ore, can be replaced only over thousands or millions of years once they are used up. The amounts of non-renewable resource on Earth are fixed with respect to their availability for human use. Once non-renewable resources are used up, they are no longer available. Oil and natural gas, for example, exist in limited quantities. When these resources become scarce, humans will have to find other resources to replace them. So, now we covered renewable resources and non-renewable resources. We're going to move on now to conserving natural resources. Whether the natural resources we use are renewable or non-renewable, we should be careful how we use them. To conserve natural resources, we should try to use them only when necessary. For example, leaving the faucet running while brushing your teeth wastes clean water. Turning the faucet on only to rinse your brush saves a lot of water that you or others need for other uses. Another way to conserve natural resources is to recycle, as shown in figure 4. So, recycling many household items to help conserve natural resources. Recycling is use of used or discarded materials that have been reprocessed into new products. Recycling allows manufacturers to reuse natural resources when making new products. This in turn reduces the amount of natural resources that must be obtained from the earth. For example, recycling aluminum can reduce the amount of aluminum that must be mined from the earth's crust to make new cans. So, we've covered these types of resources. So now we're going to move on to fossil fuels. Energy resources are natural resources that humans use to produce energy. There are many types of renewable and non-renewable energy resources, and all of the energy released from these resources ultimately come from the sun. The energy resources on which humans currently depend the most are fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are non-renewable energy resources that form in the Earth's crust over millions of years from the buried remains of once living organisms. Energy is released from fossil fuels when they are burned. There are many types of fossil fuels which exist as liquids, gases, and solids. And humans use a variety of methods to obtain and process them. These methods depend on the type of fossil fuel, where the fossil fuel is located, and the fossil fuel formed. using fossil fuels can have negative effects on the environment. Read on to learn about these fossil fuels and the role they play in our lives. So, we have petroleum, which is a liquid fossil fuel. And petroleum, or also called crude oil, is an oily mixture of flammable organic compounds from which liquid fossil fuels and other products, such as asphalt, are separated. Petroleum is separated into several types of fossil fuels and other products in refineries, such as the one shown in Figure 5. Among these types of fossil fuels, separated from petroleum are gasoline, jet fuel, kerosene, diesel fuel, and fuel oil. So these are the refineries where these types of fuels are separated and used for different parts or for different things. And then we have gaseous fossil fuels, which is just natural gas. So these types of fuels are classified as natural gas. Most natural gas is used for heating and for generating electricity. The stoves in your kitchen may be powered by natural gas. Many motor vehicles, such as the van in Figure 6, are fueled by liquefied natural gas. Vehicles like these produce less air pollution than vehicles powered by gasoline. Methane is the main compound of natural gas, but other natural gas components, such as butane and propane, can be separated and used by humans. Butane is often used as fuel for camp stoves. Propane is often used as a heating fuel and as a cooking fuel, especially for outdoor grills. And then we have coal, which is a solid fossil fuel. The solid fossil fuel that humans use most is coal. Coal is a solid fossil fuel formed underground from buried, decomposed plant material. Coal, the only fossil fuel that is a rock, was once the leading source of energy in the United States. People burn coal for heating and transportation. Many trains in the 1800s and early 1900s were powered by coal-burning steam locomotives. People began to use coal less because burning coal often produces large amounts of air pollution, and because better energy resources were discovered. Coal is no longer used much as fuel for heating or transportation in the United States. However, many power plants, like the one shown in Figure 7, burn coal to produce electricity. So, the coal is being gathered so that if it may be burned in the power plant shown in the background, burning coal provides energy that can be converted to electricity. So, the question that many of you guys probably have or not is, how do fossil fuels form? So all fossil fuels form from the buried remains of ancient organisms, but different types of fossil fuels form in different ways and from different types of organisms. physical and chemical change over millions of years. The remains become petroleum and gas. Gradually, more rocks from above the rocks that contain the fossil fuels. Under the pressure of overlying rocks and sediment, the fossil fuels are squeezed out of their source rocks and into permeable rocks, as shown in Figure 8. These permeable rocks become reservoirs for petroleum and natural gas. The formation of petroleum and natural gas is an ongoing process, part of the remains of today's sea. Life will probably become petroleum and natural gas millions of years from now. So we can see we have the reservoir rocks right here. Petroleum is right here, and the gas. So to obtain petroleum and gas, engineers must drill wells into reservoir rocks, as shown here. After fuels are successfully tapped, pumps must sometimes be installed to remove them over here. And that is how they take out petroleum and gas from underneath. So, coal forms differently from petroleum and natural gas. Coal forms underground over millions of years from decade swamp plants. When swamp plants die, they sink to the bottom of the swamps. These begin to process the coal formation, which is illustrated below. Notice that the percentage of carbon increases with each stage. The higher the carbon content, the cleaner the material burns. However, all grades of coal will pollute the air when burned. So we have the 4 stages right here. That's how they look. So we have peat, bacteria, and fungi transform sunken swamp plants into peat. Peat is about 60% carbon. And then stage 2, sediment and more sunken plants bind peat, increasing the pressure on the peat and raising its temperature. This gradually turns the peat into lignite, which is about 70% carbon. And then we have the stage 3, which turns into 80% carbon, and then stage 4, 90% carbon. And this is how they form in stages. Now, where are fossil fuels found? So we can see by looking at the United States, we see that petroleum, we can find it this part of the Gulf of Mexico and parts of California and some minor parts within the United States. Natural gas, we can see it kind of like in the mid south of the US. And then coal, which you can find in most states. We can see them right here. So this is where fossil fuels are found within the United States. And how do humans obtain fossil fuels? Humans use different methods to remove fossil fuels from the Earth's crust. These methods depend on the type of fuel being obtained and its location. Petroleum and natural gas are removed from the earth by drilling wells into a rock that contains these resources. Oil wells exist both on land and in the ocean. So we can see right here in the ocean, and this one is in land. So coal is obtained either by mining deep beneath the Earth's surface or by strip mining. Strip mining is a process in which rock and soil are stripped from the Earth's surface to expose underlying materials to be mined. Strip mining is used to mine shallow coal deposits. And we can see a coal strip mine. And this is an offshore well, drilling well. So, what are the problems with fossil fuels? Although fossil fuels provide energy for our technological world, the methods of obtaining and using them can have negative consequences. For example, some scientists think that the burning of fossil fuels is significantly increasing the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. It is possible that this increase in carbon dioxide is contributing to global warming, which is the rise in average global temperatures. The burning of coal can cause damage to the environment in another way. When the coal is burnt, sulfur dioxide is released. Sulfur dioxide combines with moisture in the air to produce sulfuric acid, which is one of the acids in acid precipitation. Acid precipitation is rain or snow that has a high acid content, due mainly to air pollution. Acid precipitation negatively affects wildlife, plants, buildings, and statues, as shown in Figure 12. So we can see right here. The mining of coal can also create environmental problems. Strip mining removes soil, which plants need for growth and some animals need for shelter. If land is not properly repaired afterward, strip mining can destroy wildlife habitats. Coal mines that are deep underground, such as shown in Figure 13, can be hazardous to the men and women working in them. Coal mining can also lower local water tables, pollute water supplies, and cause the overlying earths to collapse. So, how are we going to be dealing with fossil fuel problems? Now, obviously, we can't stop using fossil fuels anytime soon. We are too dependent on them. But there are things that we can do to minimize the negative effects of fossil fuels by traveling in automobiles only when absolutely necessary. People can cut down on car exhaust in the air, carpooling, riding a bike, walking, and using mass transit system also help by reducing the number of cars on the road. These measures help reduce the negative effects of using fossil fuels, but they do not eliminate the problems. Only by using certain alternative energy resources, which will be learned about in the next section, we can eliminate them. So I think this is it for this video. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up and put in the comments if you guys learned something, or if you guys already learned this from when you guys were younger and in school. So thank you guys for watching this ASMR video, and I will see you guys on the next one.